Hello everyone. Welcome back to another lesson from class 7. In this class, we will talk about the establishment of British Empire in India, who came to India to build their colonies to rule. From this lesson, we will see what proposed the Britishers come to India and also see which other countries have come to India and what resources we have lost to them. In part 1, we will have a look at the following topics. East India Company comes to the east. Mercantilism and armed traders. Increasing European involvement in India. Misuse of the company's power. The English established their dominance. Before going to the main topic, take a look at the keywords. Mercantilism. An economic policy that aims to increase a country's exports and decrease its imports. Zamindars. A collector of the land revenue of a district for the government during the period of Mughal rule in India. Territories. Land which is controlled by a particular country or ruler. Now, take a look at the concept map. East India Company arrives in the east. After the death of Aurangzeb in 1707 AD, many Mughal governors and big zamindars began asserting their authority and established regional kingdoms in various parts of India. By the second half of the 18th century, a new power emerged on the political horizon that came as a small trading company. In 1600 CE, Queen Elizabeth I, the First, granted the East India Company exclusive trading rights, allowing them to explore new markets, purchase goods at favorable prices, and sell them in Europe for profit. Let's have a look at British mercantilism and armed traders. Mercantile is a business that makes money through exchanging goods. Trading companies in the past made money by eliminating competition, allowing them to buy low and sell high. The Royal Charter did not stop other European powers from entering Eastern markets. Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to India in 1498. And by the early 17th century, Dutch and French traders were also exploring trade in the Indian Ocean. Multiple companies competed for acquiring popular Indian cotton, silk, and spices in Europe, driving up prices. Started competition between traders resulted in armed exchanges and strong trading outposts which caused clashes with local leaders. Spices such as pepper, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon were also highly sought after. The competition between European companies led to an increase in the prices of these goods. At the same, people used weapons to trade and built forts to protect their trading posts. They tried to make their settlement strong and successful, but this caused a lot of fighting with the rulers in the Indian regions. European traders, including the English and French East Indian companies, established operations in India, competing for trade control with government support, boosting England's economy. Other nations like Spain, Portugal, and Holland also expanded globally, leading to military clashes with the Mughal Empire of India. Even though they faced challenges, European companies strengthened their military presence in India. While Mughal emperors Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb managed to defeat some European troops, the Mughal Empire started to break apart after Aurangzeb passed away. When the Mughal emperor was in charge, places like Bengal, Awadh, and Hyderabad had a bit of freedom to manage their affairs. As the empire started to weaken, different companies took advantage of the situation to increase their influence. Meanwhile, local leaders like Rajas and Nawabs tried to improve trade but were careful not to let the companies take over completely. In 1764, a small French army managed to defeat Nawab Anwaruddin Khan of Arcot, which helped European traders to gain more power. During the 1700s, European armies were more powerful than Indian because they had better trained soldiers, higher salaries, and more advanced weapons. Indian soldiers improved their abilities by practicing regularly with these armies, increasing European involvement in India. Companies used military strength to support Indian rulers for trade advantages and cash. Dupleix supported Muzaffar Jung for Nizam of Deccan. In exchange, Muzaffar Jung granted French territory near Pondicherry and Machilipatnam, along with funds and jagir for Dupleix. Nearby rulers granted territories to businesses, which then gathered taxes to use for trade and military growth. The English company outperformed the French company in India. Misuse of the company's power. The Indian leaders struggled to meet the demands of the English East India Company, including providing gifts, financial support for the army, and other company-related issues. Some Indian kings exempted the company from taxes, leading workers to sell their belongings as company property to avoid taxes. As the company thrived, Indian workers and leaders profited and sent money home. Many merchants supported the company, labeling their products to avoid taxes. The company resorted to theft and dishonesty, using a strong army to seize control of kingdoms and exploiting farmers and artisans for profit while eliminating resistant rulers. The English established their dominance. In 1757, the British defeated Siraj-ud-Dawla, the Nawab of Bengal, at Plassey, taking control of Bengal. This marked the beginning of English conquests in India. The English East India Company forced the Nizam of Hyderabad to give up coastal Andhra Pradesh districts to Madras province from 1765 to 1768 in exchange for an army, ultimately gaining control over the Nizam. Generals Clive, Hastings, and Wellesley were key to the British victory in India, leading to significant territorial gains. Slowly, large parts of India came under the direct rule of the English. In many places, the Rajas and Nawabs continued to rule, but they were under the sovereignty of the English. We will continue with the remaining lesson in part 2. Summary of the topic. In this section, we learned that Queen Elizabeth I granted the East India Company in India after the death of Aurangzeb in 1600 CE. The company aimed to find new markets, buy good quality goods, and sell them in Europe to make money. The Indian leaders had a hard time meeting the demands of the English East India Company. In some areas, the Rajas and Nawabs still ruled, but they were under the control of the English. This was the start of the English takeover in India. Thank you for watching. Let's continue in part 2. Stay tuned to Ashray Akruti.